The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Hi, everyone. You actually can see me now. If you are in a situation that you can turn on your video, this is the first time with our radio show that we can actually see you, and rather you can see me. I can't see you. I wish I could, but I can see you when you put in a comment or ask a question. That's what's so exciting. It's live. And we can do it right now. And so don't hesitate to ask questions. But I am going to answer your questions from last time. And so I'm going to hold up this thing here. Okay. First question was, how do you know what energy you are in? Well, can you tell by the smile in my face what energy I'm in? I think it's quite easy. I'm in a joyful spirit energy. And when you are happy, you have raised your consciousness. When you are frightened or scared or angry, you are in a dark consciousness. How do you raise your consciousness? By simply asking God to fill you with divine light, and then choose to be happy. Okay, so the next question is, how can you see what others see in you? Not quite sure I understand the question. Your intuition, that's my best answer. When you open up your inner senses, the inner sense of sight, the inner sense of knowing, the inner sense of feeling, the inner sense of what all the other senses, hearing, because I hear Raphael in my head. And but it's not a booming voice. It's just very quiet knowing, I guess you could say. And he wanted me to talk today. And let me clarify. Raphael is not a he, she. Raphael is pure spirit. So he doesn't have male, female. But we have a tendency to label everything as human beings. And all of the archangels are either seen as male or female, depending on how you perceive the person. Some people see Raphael as female. I happen to see him as male, and like Gabriel to me is female, but they're not. They don't wear a human body. They only put that on because it makes us comfortable. And they don't wear feathered wings because they're not part bird. And that's kind of funny when you think about it. But that's how artists of old have created them. Okay, we are in a Christmas spirit today. As you can see, I've got my little bells on here. I put the wreath behind me, and over there by my beautiful stained glass angel, I have some poinsettias that are there. I am just happy because it is the Christmas season. And this is a time to be joyful. And it is yet a sad time because we know that the coronavirus is preventing us from having family around. And already Thanksgiving was painful for most of us because we could not communicate with others at a time when we like to celebrate that feast of thanks. But if you are wise, and answering that question, how do you know what energy you're in? If you are wise, you will follow the science and you will wear a mask when you have to go out, and you will stay distanced from people, and you will stay safe. Now, as you can tell, I'm 86. And so I'm supposed to be one of the dead targets for this virus. But you can also see I'm very healthy, and I will continue to be that way, not only because I am healthy to begin with, but because I am smart and I listen to the science. So everybody wear a mask and stay safe. Now, the next question was, how long is the role we play? The role you play on planet Earth is as long as your soul is learning new knowledge and gaining new experiences. That's why you're here. You're here to explore this planet, to explore what it's like to wear a physical body, to suffer pain. Yes, everybody does. Emotional, mental, and physical pain. That's part of the package. And you'll be here like me. I say every once in a while to Raphael, when can I go home? I'm ready anytime that God says, okay, you can exit planet Earth and come home. But I'm still here. And so I figured that God still has a plan for me, that my soul still has a plan for me. And so I'm here. And I am so delighted to have you in with me in this Christmas season. This is such a joy for me. And so here's another question. By the way, I know that you can send me, let me pull this down, see if I have it. Nope, that's it. That you can send me questions now. You can ask them and I will answer them immediately, which is really good because right now I'm answering last week's questions. And so, okay. How does anyone ask the question right? You don't even have to use words, dear friends. God knows your question in your heart before you even form words to ask it. Sometimes you don't even know what your question is before it's answered. And when it's answered, you go, wow, that's really cool. You feel happy. So when you wake up each morning, if you'll just say these words, thank you, God, that all my needs are met this day and every day of my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you immediately start out with a raised consciousness that allows you to receive the information you need each moment of the day to know how to be happy and to know how to gain as much knowledge and wisdom from this day. And so stick with us. We hope you'll be giving you more knowledge and wisdom. Let's see. What age did you learn about spirit? Well, I was always a very spiritual person. I was raised as a Catholic, and I went to church every Sunday. I went to a Catholic school. We had retreats. So even back then, when I was just a youngster, I was going to communion every Sunday. In fact, we had Mass during the week, so I went to communion. And communion, I believe truly, was the body and blood of Christ. And so I've been a spiritual person for as long as I've been on this planet. And I think that's something that grows and changes as we grow and change, because I'm now no longer a practicing Catholic. I have respect, a great respect for all of the experiences that I had as a Catholic, but I'm now more open to all religions. I am an ordained minister, a Christian minister, but I never practiced it, only to marry people. That was one of the reasons why I went through the process, and that was a joy. But I'm not actually practicing except what I'm doing now. I guess you could say this is my ministry, is giving you how to be happy, how to be joyful. And so, dear friends, stay with us and know that Raphael, the Archangel, is truly here with us as well and is prompting me to continue on by starting with what we're talking about today. I'm still waiting for your questions because you can ask questions at any time. Let's make sure I've answered those questions right. Okay, I did. So here's in the book that we are trying to get published, which is called Ask Raphael. In the book, he has guiding principles. And I hope from week to week that I will give you one of these principles so that we can discuss it and you can get more knowledge and wisdom of how to be a joyous being of light. Okay, so guiding principle number 3 is what we're starting with, which is called trust. That's a biggie. Boy, with the questions that I've been getting from one of my particular listeners, the person does not trust anyone very much and keeps giving negative responses because there's so much fear that this person will be deceived and won't be getting the truth, that it just clouds. It's just like clouds are hanging heavy over this person's head. Don't know if it's male or female, so I can't say he, she, but that's sad. There's almost an anger that challenges me each time. And this is why I'm glad now I can get your questions immediately. And so this is what Raphael says. Trust is an awareness that your soul is essential in helping you create the life you desire. Okay? When you try to go it alone or depend upon your own powers of creating without help from God and your soul, you are heading for failure and disappointment. Trusting in God and your soul requires a level of humility to know that no one is free from mistakes. And that's a guarantee. Throughout this life, you're going to make mistakes because those are valuable as well as the things that you do successfully. We learn through positive, negative energy. That's why we are constantly seeking balance. Okay, this is often what he says. Here's going on with Raphael. He says, you need trust to become aware of the greater scheme of things, which is what we are doing in this book. Whenever you feel locked within your problems, make a positive statement such as, Beloved God, I place my trust in you to supply all my needs this day and every day of my life. If you say that often during the day, you will be amazed at the ideas that will pop in your mind to solve from the simplest problems to the biggest ones. Going on, he says, when you cannot see why something bad happens to good people, trust there truly is a divine purpose for it all. Trust will eventually open up your awareness of a bigger picture, allowing you that aha moment when you discover the silver lining behind the dark cloud, when the reasons are revealed, when the question, why do things happen as they do, becomes clear. He goes on to say, trust allows you to look for the good in everything and everyone, regardless of outward appearances. He says this does not mean to put blinders on, to have complete trust. Okay, so this is one of his guiding principles. But we all know that we've lost trust in certain people. If someone betrays you, if somebody says they're going to do something and they don't do it, or if somebody speaks harshly or unkindly to you, we lose trust that they will be a friendly person for us and not a challenger, not somebody who will betray us. Betrayal is something I think everybody experiences throughout life. There's always somebody who seems to have failed you. And I know I lost a friend. Maybe she'll come back now that the politics is over. But when I declared Biden as being the perfect president, she said, and I said some not so nice things about the present president. When I did there's a video out on the 7 deadly sins regarding Donald Trump. And she said, how can you say that about my beloved president? Well, I knew at that point that she had blinders on and she was not seeing clearly. And that, like many, many people who have followed Trump blindly, they cannot see clearly and they will not, because it is their heart that is given over to this particular politician. And that's the way it works in a lot of ways. We are sometimes given those blinders to go into a relationship that we would not otherwise have gone into. And as we look back, we think, why did I marry that man? And yet we know there is a reason behind it. And so trust is very important. I would really love to hear your comments if you are watching us and hearing us. I don't see any particular comments yet. So all of you have had an experience of losing trust in someone, and it's kind of heartbreaking because you feel not only betrayed, but you feel as though you've been abandoned. And sometimes abandonment is the cause of trust, of lack of trust. And so we're saying to you right now, Raphael and I, that your best bet is to put your trust in the archangels, the angels and guides that are given to you, and of course to God, who is the source of all that exists on this planet. Begin there. And then the next place to go is to trust yourself. Now, when you set up expectations of other people, you will find that you're going to be betrayed because, just a small example. When I married my second husband, everybody in a relationship kind of sets up the chores. You take out the garbage, I'll do the grocery shopping and fix the meals. You go earn the paycheck, I'll stay home and clean the house. There's sometimes those not even spoken roles that we are given. Now, one day, it was Joe's job when he went to work in the morning to take out the garbage. Now, for us, it was a long trek down to the road because we were way back in the woods, and for me to carry the garbage that far would be impossible. So that's why he threw it in his truck, and off he would go and dump it at the end of the driveway. So one day, I had put the garbage right in front of the garage door so he wouldn't forget. Well, he goes, gets to the garage door. That's the house door that goes into the garage. He gets to the door. He doesn't even see the garbage except enough to pick it up, put it in the laundry room, open the garage door, and go out and leave the garbage there. Now, did he do that deliberately to hurt me? No. I knew intuitively and lovingly that his mind was so focused on his job at that moment, he didn't even think what he was doing. He was just taking obstacles out of his way so he could go to work. Now, a lot of people would have gotten very angry that he didn't do his job and they wouldn't have spoken to them for a whole day because he did something like that. He didn't do it to hurt me. And that's where you have to begin to discern the difference and not lose trust in somebody because they did something that annoyed you or that you felt betrayed you. Now, if you feel that person has betrayed you, if you believe that maybe they're having an affair with someone else, you have every right to lose trust. But until you know for sure, you can't accuse somebody of betraying you unless you know. But there's the little betrayals that, like not taking out the garbage, that can get in the way of a relationship. Don't let the little things ruin a relationship. Take for granted that the person who loves you enough to say, I will be with you the rest of my life, that little things are not important. Raphael has said that expectations can be the death of a relationship. Expectations can be the death of a relationship. When you expect somebody that you go into a relationship with to take care of you financially, emotionally, or any other need that you might have, you're already dooming the relationship. You need to go into a relationship as an independent, thinking and feeling person who is not depending on anyone else, even your parents, to feed you the emotional energy you need to be happy. That's your job. Nobody can make you happy but yourself. And there's where you trust in yourself. So often we talk to people who lack trust in themselves that they can do what they need to do to be happy, to be financially secure, to solve their problems. They're always looking to somebody else to do it for them. And then, unfortunately, that shows their soul age. That means that they haven't been on the planet long enough to really know that they are truly responsible for creating the world they desire. Now, you can look at me at my old age, but I'm a retired teacher. And I was fortunate enough to, well, first of all, I was born into a family, I've said this before, that were very poor. I was born just after the Depression. And so things were still pretty bad. And there were 5 of us, 5 children. So I could not expect them to pay a college education for me. But when I was just a tiny tot, I would go visit with my mother's brother. And I'm sure that was part of my soul's plan for the life, that I would come into that family to have the DNA from my parents, but not to have to live with them the rest of my life. So I was just, I think, in kindergarten when I went to live with them when they moved out of Detroit. Now, your story is your story. And however you have landed with whatever parents, siblings, with whatever husband or wife, with whatever partner you have, it is part of the soul's plan for the life, your soul. And so take a deep breath right now. Take a deep breath and relax, because it can get kind of tense in the shoulders, right? So take a deep breath and say after me, thank you, God, for all the blessings you have given me all the days of my life. Thank you for helping me to learn how to create the world I desire to live in. I can't change other people's world. I cannot make things better for other people except for what I do in relationship with them. I am not responsible for anyone else's happiness but my own. I cannot change their story that their soul is telling on planet Earth. I cannot make them well if they are ill, if it is the divine plan for them to be ill. If I am inspired to do something to help them, I can only ask permission to share that knowledge with them. I cannot just take over and tell them, you do it this way, and this is what will happen. This is not your life. This is not your story to tell. You must honor other people's story and trust that they are divinely guided. They have a guardian angel, they have a council of elders, they have a soul that has a story to tell. You have no idea how big that picture is. You have no idea if what they are experiencing is something from previous lifetimes. So relax. Let your friends and family live their life as they see fit to live it. And each of you who are watching right now, you are the person in charge of your life. You make decisions every single day, and those decisions are creating your world. And so trust in your own divine guidance. Listen to what others have to say, because sometimes they have better ideas than you do. Sometimes they can think ahead better than you can. I know I've been working with my neighbor who has been helping me so much, and I so appreciate him. But there are times when I want to do it my way, and he'll argue with me, but then he'll do it my way. And we're both very strong individuals. And sometimes you have a partner like that, and you may fight about who is going to be in charge about something. But if you compromise, if you learn how to discuss things, to debate things, but not argue, you will find you have a happy relationship with everybody. And so trust requires that you do that. And so we're still waiting for people to ask questions. Should I put it on audio? I'm asking this of Rebel. Should I put it on audio? No, camera is on, green screen. Anything I need to do? Anybody?
The questions are coming in. They're in the comment section.
Okay, how do I get to the comment section?
It should be on your screen.
It's look on the green screen?
No, it should be on your screen.
I don't see it.
To the right-hand side of the screen, do you have a list where it says comments?
No. How do I get to that? We're just learning. This is our first time.
That I am not sure of what your view is. I've also put them up on the screen for you to read. Let me put another one up real quick for you. Can you see it on your screen?
No.
We're gonna have to do that off the air because I'm not really sure why you can't see it.
Darn. I was hoping I could see it. Can you just read them to me?
Let me scroll back up to the top real quick. The first one says, "Is this a new show?"
And the answer is no. It's an old show made new by adding video. And it's just the same one that you've been hearing on iHeartRadio and all the other stations, as well as W4WN radio, but it's now radio and video, which is really kind of neat because if you can tune in and see us, you can see my office, you can see my wreath behind me, my stained glass angel over here, and to the other side, the wonderful picture that my son bought me from Rome. So I hope I can share that with you. But if you're not in a position where you can have video, then you can always still type in your questions. And even though we haven't quite figured this out yet, I've got, I don't know where to put it. I've got it on camera in settings, maybe because I'm not supposed to be in settings. Should I get out of there?
Probably should get out of settings, yes.
Okay, now I've got it. All right.
Do you see the comments?
Okay, to the right. Yes, let me go back up to the top. Oh,
You
wonderful.
can scroll through.
Okay, I see hi. Okay, and I see, do you see the comments that are coming in? I put the questions on the
No,
top.
that's the private chat. There's another chat with comments from everyone else.
Okay, chat with host and other guests. Okay, comments. All right. Okay, here's the first question. Who do you live with? I live with me, myself, and I, Raphael, and God. I have been alone since my second husband died in 2004. And I'm very happy to be alone. I wouldn't have all of this creative stuff if I had to tend to another person's happiness. And so I am very happy to be alone. All right. The next question, okay, and that was the same question. Just was several times. Do I have, oh, let's go back up to the top. Oh, look at all these questions. Woohoo. I'm going way back up to the top. Bear with me. All right. Here we go. The question is this a new show? We answered that. The next question is, so it was answered several times. What type of show is this? Well, it is a spiritual show, and yet it is about the world around you and how you can be happier in it. So I was upsetting some people on the radio show that when I talked about politics, that's part of your life around you, and that's where Raphael tries to help you to be happier. And so they got upset with me because they thought it should be just a spiritual show. And so, okay, was that question asked several times. Everyone can, I heard that. Let's get down here. Oh, is anyone really ever safe? Absolutely. You are safe in this moment. Take a deep breath. And that deep breath is not up here like this. It's down in your gut. Take a deep breath all the way down to your gut and relax your shoulders. That is a very scary question if you don't feel safe. You are safe. I've lived by myself for all these years, and I have just a regular deadbolt on my front door. That's a sign of fear and anxiety if you have 100 different locks on your doors. That's called trust. That's what we're talking about today. It's called trust. Whew, what a terrible question. Okay. That goes on several times. The next question is, do we not always have a body? Do we not always have a body? Oh, okay. I think I understand the question. You have more than your physical body. Let's tick it off. You have the outward physical body. You have the inward spirit body, which is a duplicate of your physical body. And when you sleep at night, this duplicate spirit body, which vibrates much faster than your physical body, it actually leaves your body at night when it's sound asleep, and it travels around. You can go visit the moon and see what's on the moon and come back with information from it. Yep, that's true. And there are people that can do that. I can't say that I do. But this is if you study astral projection, you can look that up, ASTRAL projection. You can hear about a lot of people that, like Bob Monroe, look him up, Bob Monroe. He's written books on different planes of existence. Okay, so you have that spirit body that can travel at night when your physical body's asleep, and that's perfectly safe too. You have what's called a silver cord. It's like attached to your umbilical cord and to your spirit's umbilical cord, and you're like a yo-yo. When it's time for you to wake up, your spirit body just goes right back into your spirit, into your physical body, and then you wake up. This happens to everybody. Dream research has proven this. Okay, all right. So you don't always have your physical body. And next question, that was the same one. Oh, are you looking to go home? I did say that once. Of course, I know that the end of this life is the beginning of my spirit life on the other side. I look forward to it. I'm not the least bit afraid of dying. But I'm certainly not stupid enough to go out without a mask. I'm not inviting death. I know my soul has the perfect time for me to leave this planet. And obviously, at 86, it isn't yet, particularly since I'm in perfectly good health. And I had a woman ask me at a reading previously where she could see me. She asked if I'd had a couple of facelifts. And I was delighted with the question and to say, no, I haven't had any facelifts. I have been blessed in many, many ways. And my physical body is one of them. I look younger than I am. But that's my story. There it goes on for a few times with that. Okay, what does one need to do to marry a person? Well, you need to be the most beautiful inside that you can get. The more joy you radiate outward, the more people want to be around you. But if you're a skeptic, and if you are frowning, and if you are always questioning, if you are always angry, nobody wants to be around that. They're going to just, woohoo, I'm staying away from that person. So what makes you attractive to other people? Not your physical body. What makes you attracted to other people is your smile and the smile in your eyes. Even when you have a mask on, your eyes show your joy. And so that's what it takes. So if you really want to marry someone, marry yourself first. Learn to live with yourself alone and be happy doing it. Learn to use your creative abilities, your mind, your spirit, to make goodness in the world, to bring goodness to others. Learn to give of yourself to others, and then they'll want to be giving of themselves to you. But if all you're looking for is somebody so you won't be lonely, or someone who'll take care of your physical needs and you won't be broke all the time, then you're barking up the wrong tree. I have to say that when I met my second husband 2 years after my divorce of 32 years to my first husband, when I met him, I wasn't the least bit interested in a relationship. And he was fascinated by that because he was good looking. He was not wealthy, but comfortable. And he had all kinds of women friends that wanted to be more than just friends. So when I came along and wasn't interested in having a personal relationship, I just wanted to be a friend. He was so surprised that it made him want me. Now, I enjoyed his life, but I was his personality and all, but I was dating 2 other men at the same time. I had just started dating 2 years after the divorce, and I was enjoying it. I didn't want to give it up. But then Joe said, I'm afraid I'm falling in love with you, and I'm hearing that you're dating other men. I can't go on if that's going to happen. So I had to make a choice, and I chose him. And it was the best decision I ever made. But here you go. Why did he want to be with me? One of the things he said is because you are so happy all the time. It's just fun to be with you. Are you happy all the time? Or are you a drag? Are you frowning? Are you complaining about this, of not having that? Who wants to be around somebody like that? No, nobody, right? Okay. So that I hope answers your question. And that is shown several times. Now I think I got another one. How can you say that about the man? Oh, this is going back to the radio show. Because I certainly didn't approve, and I still don't approve of the actions of the President of the United States now. And I'm so glad that he is no longer going to be in office as of next month. And I am not afraid to speak my truth. That's my truth. That doesn't have to be your truth. And so even though I am speaking with Raphael, who told me Joe Biden was going to win long before it even happened, I know that goodness is going to come from this new president. And so, how can I say that about the man? From experience, from watching what's going on, from listening and paying attention. And I think I said that some people just follow Donald Trump because he mesmerizes them. And it's like blind leading the blind. And so this person is saying, this is not a blind follow. You may not see the truth, I think is what they're saying. Excuse me. Well, the thing of it is, when you've got an archangel working with you, you can't be fooled. And I was seeing the truth. So here's another one. It's that they show the same question several times, but this is great. Oh, here's somebody saying, looking great, Betty Ray. Thank you. Here's another person. Single moms take out the trash. There is not gender roles in every relationship. Hurrah, I agree with you 100%. We are individual people creating our own lives. And dear friends, it's your responsibility to take out the trash when it needs taking out. It's never putting this job on somebody else. That's where we find that expectations, as Raphael says, can be the death of a relationship. If you're by yourself, like me, you can only expect from yourself what you can do. And there are things I can't do anymore at my age. And so I do pay for help and grateful that it is there when I need it. All right, going on again. Let's see where we've got next. Whoops, I think I went by that. Nope, they repeat the question several times. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. What if you are too busy doing for others? You cannot get to your things. Well, that's not a good thing. You can't be doing for others at the expense of your own needs, because then you are not living the life that your soul has brought you here to live. You're not here to live another person's life, and you cannot make anyone else happy except yourself. It is not your job to fulfill other person's needs, unless, of course, it's like a parent who is depending on you now that they're ill. That's sort of like a written in agreement when you get born. Your parents take care of you, and then later on, as the cycle of life goes, you take care of them when you can. But if you can't, there's always some way that you can manage that to take care of them at a distance. Okay, let's keep going. I'm loving these questions. To get things done. That keeps asking the same question. Keep going on. Here we go. Who did you live with? Well, I had my first husband of 32 years and raised 4 children. And then after 2 years after the divorce, I met my second husband, and I lived with him for about 10 years. And he died in 2004. So I've been living with Betty Ray the rest of the time. And that makes me very, very happy. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, this is clarifying something. When I asked about marrying people, I was responding to you saying you can marry people. Okay, thank you for the clarification. You see, when I get the question a week later, I can't answer it and clarify it. I meant that when I became an ordained minister, I could legally marry people. That's what I mean. And how long of study did it take for you to be able to marry others? Well, I had 2 options. The first one, I took the I don't know what you call it, the ordination course from a little metaphysical church in Lansing, Michigan. And it was a 2-year course. And I went the hour and a half every week, a couple of times a week, and studied with an ordained minister. And we had the great joy of of getting some information from a professor at Michigan State University on religions, world religions. Oh, that was so interesting. It gave me such respect for all religions that I certainly call myself a non-denominational minister, because each person is led to God in their own wonderful way. And so I certainly honor all religions and do not have any that is I feel is better or more than another. Okay, so yes. Okay, the second way is to go to Universal Life Church. Rebel, can you put that in the ticket, or however you do it? universallifechurch.com. And you can become an instant ordained minister, because this monastery in California believed that we are all created by God to minister to one another, and that we didn't have to have an ordained from a specific religion to do that, to be ministers to one another. And so if you go to universallifechurch.com, you can become an instant ordained minister, and there's all kinds of things that you can get there. You can even get a doctorate in religion by studying with them, but you can be instantly ordained. And the great thing about it, and the only reason why I did it, is I could marry people. That's what I'm talking about. I became, when I couldn't finish the course because Joe got sick and I couldn't finish that 2-year course, I got into about a year and a half of it. And then I thought, why not? Somebody else had signed me up for this church. And I thought, why not? I'm ministering to people all the time with my readings with Raphael. And so I accepted that ordination, and that's how but I don't talk about it. I don't talk about it because I'm not like most ordained ministers. I don't have a church. I don't have a religion. I don't have a dogma. I have only love, and I have only the knowledge of an archangel to guide me, as well as God, of course. Okay. You told us a story about your uncle moving. I think I heard you say you moved with him. Who did you live with as a child? I moved with my uncle when I was in kindergarten. He moved out of Detroit. I'd been visiting back and forth with him. Now, you understand, I've said before, my parents were alcoholics. That began during the Depression, and I had 3 older brothers and a younger brother. And actually, it was before my younger brother was even born. And so when my aunt and uncle moved out of Detroit, I moved with them, and they became my surrogate parents. And then when I turned 16, I legally allowed myself to be adopted by them. My father would not allow me to be adopted before that, and he was very angry that these people had stolen his only daughter. They didn't know that even as a toddler, I had climbed up on my uncle's lap and whispered in his ear, "Daddy, take me home." I wasn't dumb. I knew that they would give me so much more, and that this is my soul story. They were able, because they couldn't have any children of their own, they were able to give me a college education that allowed me to be a music teacher and allowed me now to have an income. So here again, this was my soul story. This is not that I am more fortunate than somebody else. This is my story, and this is why I have been able to do what I do. And that doesn't mean that your soul is punishing you if you don't have all of the things that you need. No, it means that your soul is learning how to create through a pandemic, for example, how to have something wonderful happen during this pandemic that makes you realize that good comes out of everything. All right, so that's that. I think I'm at the end of the questions. Who did you live with? I think it is the same one. Any more questions, anybody? So far, we still have about 15 minutes left. Okay, let's go back to those guiding principles, and we were talking about trust. Now, every person on this planet has a soul. They have a spirit duplicate body. They have a soul, and oh, everyone can see and hear you. Okay, I think we got that. I don't know where I'm getting this. Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, your soul has a plan, a story to tell. And again, I've repeated this many times. Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage and we are actors upon it. That's the truth. Your soul creates your physical body, chooses the DNA from your parents, and creates your physical body, has you born under a specific star sign, because that's energy. Everything is energy, people. Everything is vibrating energy. And that means that you are divine, because God is the source of all energy. In any form we choose to create. So here I am in my 80s, and I choose to what I will wear today. Choose to wear these pretty bells. I'm always on the wrong side when I look at myself in this thing. I choose what I will do and think and say each day. I have free will. And that takes trust in Betty Ray. Okay, I got some more questions for Ray. If people are acting, how are we to know what is real or acted? And that's not quite exactly it. When we are a physical being on a planet, our soul guides us through a story it wants to tell. We don't always listen. So we have free will to choose how we're going to live each day, whether we're going to live it in darkness and anger and frustration, or whether we're going to live it in joy. We have free will to choose that. How are we to know what is real or acted? Everything from a spiritual point of view is acting as a sentient being on a physical planet. You don't know you're acting, and yet you are. Every word you use isn't scripted. It isn't set up in advance. It comes through your mind and it actually comes out your mouth. So sometimes you will say things and I didn't mean to say that, you will say. But it popped in your head and it popped right out your mouth. In fact, when I was teaching junior high kids, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, whoa, they never had their brain in gear before their mouth opened. We used to say that, and it was so funny, some of the things they'd come out with. And just a quick story. Yes, I'm an actor on the stage. I was teaching 8th grade choral and music. I was teaching music. And I had a 7th grade class. It was 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. I had a 7th grader of exploratory music. And they could come in and I would set up everything from electronic music to learning to play the piano, to learning to play the guitar. I had a big choral room where I could set this up. The kids loved it. Now, the point that I'm making is that I chose to be a music teacher. And when I began teaching in the public schools, I realized that the joy of singing is something that I have been so blessed to be able to do. And I have a Julie Andrews type voice. And so when I would sing, I sounded pretty good. Don't know how rusty my pipes are now, but I actually did solo work. So this is what I was born with. This is the gifts and the talents that I have had to choose to develop. I learned to play the piano when I was in 6th grade. And when it was time to go to college, I decided I wanted to be a teacher of music. And I ended up teaching secondary and elementary and even 2-year-olds music. What a joy. My point is, every day you have new choices to make. You can choose to make a choice out of joy, which will give you much better results than making a choice out of anger or fear or anxiety. It is your free will to choose how you will make each life's choices. If you are free in the respect that you love and respect yourself, and you honor that God has created you perfectly, there are absolutely no mistakes. You are perfect exactly as you are. You have the exact amount of intelligence, the exact amount of compassion, all of the things that you need to be happy. So we're all actors on Earth stage. We just don't know it. And when we use compassion for one another, we get feelings of joy and peace. But when we get angry with other people, sometimes it's justified anger. And we need to let people know where we stand if we don't agree with them. But it doesn't have to be done in cruel words. And someone asked me a while back on this channel as to when I was going to serve my husband hamburger for dinner. And he came home and he said he'd had hamburger for lunch. And they said, well, why didn't you invite him out? I said how when he gave me that response that I put the hamburger back in the refrigerator. I put on my coat. I walked out the door and went to the restaurant myself. They said, well, why didn't you invite him? Well, when the response is done in anger and in hatred almost, you don't want to be with that person. I didn't want to be with that dark energy. So there's the difference. It isn't the words that people use. It's the emotional impact of it. And his anger was his biggest downfall, in that everything would make him angry. I remember watching the clock when he came home, and for 10 minutes, he ranted and raved and yelled at me about things I forgot to do or I should have done for 10 full minutes. And I just didn't need that anymore. I didn't need an angry person to live with me. I decided to leave. Question.
No, we're past time.
We're past time. Yippee. It's only 12:52. Okay. And so bye, everybody. Sorry. Thank you for listening. Come back. Go ahead. Okay.